things have changed. Over 2 million kids were supposed to go back to the classroom. Some will. Those in the GTHA will not. Regardless, they will be going back, and there are a number of concerns still being voiced by educators, staff, and parents. And the question is, has the province made good on their promises to keep schools safe as we continue to struggle with these COVID cases? Joining me now live here is Education Minister Stephen Lecce. Minister Lecce, good morning. Thank you for joining on a very important day. Thank you.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
I want to begin here, and while we're talking about the weather, it seems that everything is different. It varies from board to board on if there is a snow day, some go to remote learning, some go asynchronous, some are having a snow day. Shouldn't there be something universal across the board? Because we're hearing from a lot of teachers saying, hey, we were told about this last night. I know that's a board decision, that's not a provincial decision, but should it be?
Well, we believe that children should be engaged in learning every day. That's sort of why we built up a virtual learning system in the first place to create continuity. I know most boards are adopting a live synchronous learning experience today, as they should, because I think we all want children to be re-engaged in the curriculum after this 2-week time at home. I know boards are communicating to parents in real time based on local weather and snow circumstances, but we just want to make sure that kids are engaged in learning through live synchronous expectations, which we've set out province-wide.
Okay, so let's talk about when kids all do eventually get back into the classroom, some of the specifics, and I want to know about what has happened in the last few days since we've chatted. So I want to bring up some pictures here of some pictures that you've actually retweeted yourself, some coming in from Limestone, from Kawartha Pine Ridge, of board members and staff members actually assembling rapid test kits. As we know, kids will be going home with 2 antigen rapid tests, which is great to begin with, and it will be topped up. But this is a lot of work, is it not? Because this is relying on individuals having to package, photocopy, put into Ziploc bags. Was this what you had envisioned when you said kids would go home with 2 kits each?
Yeah, we made a commitment, one of the few provinces in Canada to deploy millions of rapid tests. The way they're packaged requires our school boards to kit them up for kids. So we have 2 a week, which is designed to give parents a test on day 1 of the symptoms and 24 hours later, a second test. I appreciate there's work involved, but the effort is I think an investment that we're helping to empower parents to have more access to testing. We were the only province, Melanie, to send kids home with 11 million rapid tests at Christmas, and the message was well received. These were effective, they were well used, and parents seemed to like them. And so we're now going to be layering in rapid tests on a regularized basis. We're going to try to make the system as efficient as possible in the going forward. We just received supply from the federal government. We've got 3.9 million in school boards' hands. They'll be distributed this week to children, and even more in the coming week for our high school children, all childcare and elementary students and staff. So it's a good start, recognizing that we'll be doing it more in addition to continuing to focus on things like ventilation improvements, which we think together could help reduce the risk within these settings.
Minister, you said that the parents like them. I would go so far as to say they need them. Not only do they like them, they need them.
For sure.
Can you commit to the regular schedule, what it's going to look like? Because 2 will not go very far per student.
Yeah, they're designed for symptomatic purposes. There will be a weekly supply available to families. Of course, this is entirely dependent on our access to rapid tests or the federal supply, but that is the commitment, Melanie. We want families, to your point, they should have access to rapid testing. I mean, if your child is symptomatic, I could only imagine parents want to know. And so I think if we can create a regular supply for you at home, it'll be a unique advantage in Ontario relative to most provinces, but it'll help to build confidence. It'll fundamentally reduce the risk. I mean, remember, before a child even has symptoms, they're screened every single day. We've strengthened or created a much more stricter screening protocol in Ontario for children and for staff. But should they be symptomatic, we have these tests in play. They'll be distributed this week, and I think that will help. It will certainly help reduce risk, in addition to the high-quality masks we're providing to children, the N95s. I mean, the only province in the Federation to give N95s to education and childcare staff. And really, it's designed to keep them as safe as possible, but ultimately reduce the risk of transmission within these settings as we deal with Omicron.
So, Minister, I'm not questioning the numbers, as we show them on the screen. There are 9.1 million N95 masks for staff, over 4 million for students. I believe that's probably right with what's ordered. But can you tell me, I know you've talked to my colleagues Cynthia Mulligan and Richard Southern in the last week about deliveries, because it's one thing to say they've been ordered and sent, and another to say they have been received and they are in the hands of teachers and educators and students. Can you confirm they are in those hands, or at least at the schools?
Yeah, absolutely. N95s have been distributed to school boards. Actually, well over a week ago, they've been distributed to schools individually. There's a protocol on how to wear them safely. So yes, they have been received. In fact, we had three-ply masks for kids already within our school boards from the holidays. We've sent an additional 4 million, which will just help give more access to these high-quality tests. I mean, we do know, Melanie, some kids are still wearing two-ply masks, so we're trying to give an incentive, use one of these free masks that are absolutely consistent with the best advice of the Public Health Agency of Canada and Ontario. They are safe, these masks. And the N95s are an option for staff, all staff, not just the educator, but the school bus driver, the EA, the admin, the principal, every one of them. I want to keep them as safe as possible as well. And so we've done that. And our government and premier are the only province to do it. And I hope that these high quality masks, the N95s, the rapid tests, and of course the ventilation improvements will help underscore the commitment to take extraordinary steps to reduce the risk, to help protect these schools so we can get our kids back to class.
Part of the protection, Minister, comes with vaccinations, and there's been a lot of criticism around the 5 to 11-year-old group and how many have actually received the first dose. I know Toronto's sitting around that 50% mark, the province just behind that. Would you consider that a success for vaccination rates for this age group, or what else could be done?
Yeah, it's an important point because I think the great defense against Omicron is getting immunized, first and second dose, and of course for education staff, boosters. We've accelerated access to boosters for education staff and childcare. One of 3 provinces to do that. We're proud of that. We set up clinics. But for kids, absolutely, Melanie. In high school, I'll say 12 to 17, we've had great success. We have 82.5% of our kids double dose in Ontario, one of the highest in Canada. But to your point, for 5 to 11, there's work to do. We're at about 50% single dose. Provinces like Newfoundland are as high as 70%. And so looking at other jurisdictions, what could we do to adopt other methods to reach more families, reduce barriers? The Premier and the government have announced a plan to have immunization clinics right within our elementary schools. Now, I want to be clear to parents, it requires your written consent, explicit consent. But the idea is, how could we make life easier for you, offering a clinic in the school, both during instructional hours and often after hours and on weekends, to reduce barriers for a child and for their parents to get immunized. So that's being launched. And this week, in fact, we will start to see some of those clinics being established within schools. Public health teams across Ontario are leading that process. We're working intimately with them and our school board partners, because I think there's value in increasing immunization. We want to see those numbers rise, and that's why we're taking a very aggressive approach to promoting it. I want to thank Sick Kids, because I think for some parents who may still have questions about the vaccine, the safe vaccine, they can reach out to the Sick Kids hotline that's available to families 7 days a week, an incredible information line of medical leaders who are able to answer your questions on the vaccine.
Minister, you've been gracious with your time. I know we've run out of it, unfortunately. As we say goodbye, can you just list one thing that you're going to be doing today on this snow day, because we bought you 24 hours to ensure that schools will be safe? Just one thing as we say goodbye, Minister. What's on your agenda?
I think today the main message is working with the Chief Medical Officer of Health, looking every single day at the data with the mission of reducing risk, protecting children, and getting them back to class. This is the right thing to do for their mental and physical health. And I want to thank families, thank parents, educators, and the kids themselves for an incredible level of patience and resilience. I know this has been tough, but I know that if we can get through the next few weeks, it'll be worth the effort. So please stay safe, please be vigilant, and stay positive today. I know Mother Nature had another plan, but we'll get the kids back.
You got it. Minister Lecce, appreciate the time today. Thank you.
Thank you.